Are you tired of playing the base game and getting itchy to try out cities and knights? Do you struggle to win a city and knights game? Let me break down the 4 golden rules you need to follow to win. Rule number 1. Wheat, wheat, wheat. As most of you would probably agree, wheat is the most important resource in a base game. I would argue that it's even more important in a CNK game. This is because wheat is needed to activate knights, and knights in CNK not only protect your production tiles, as in the base game, but also fend off barbarians. You might be fine temporarily not having development card in the base game, but not activating your knights pretty much means losing your city in CNK. Since barbarians arrive on average every 14 rolls, and you could have multiple knights, the wheat consumption is also higher throughout the game. There is also a powerful strategy I call robber hopping. Basically, when you have multiple knights, you drive the robber to the tile next to your other knights, draw a card from your opponents, and repeat the process. This could cause massive disruption to your opponent's game, but you could only use this strategy if you have plenty of wheat. So how do you apply this principle to your game? You generally want to make sure that you pick your first settlement next to a high wheat production tile. Don't count on your opponent leaving good wheat production tiles to you. High-level players will intentionally block you all of the wheat. Also consider pointing the road towards your wheat production tile, so you could build a knight to protect it. This is especially important if you share a high wheat production tile with one of your opponents. Rule number 2. Aqueduct is overly powerful. For those of you who do not know what Aqueduct is, it is the ability that you acquire when you reach level 3 city improvement in science. Every time a number that you don't have is rolled, with the exception of 7, you get to choose one resource from the bank. To fully appreciate how powerful this is, let's put this in perspective. By having Aqueduct, you basically gain a gold tile on every number that you don't have. Also, every time your opponent blocks one of your numbers, they essentially turn that tile into a gold tile. This is so insanely powerful that getting Aqueduct early will greatly boost your chance of winning. And frankly, getting Aqueduct isn't that hard. You just need to do in 3 small incremental steps. So what does this mean in the game? First of all, it means a city on a spot that's next to 2 high wood production tiles is powerful. During the initial placement, try to get it for yourself, or prevent your opponent from getting it. Players that go for the Aqueduct strategy initially could have a hard time protecting their first city. Don't help them by building and activating a second knight, or trade with them so they can build or activate their knights. Players that get Aqueduct early should always be your target. Don't be fooled by the existing victory points. If you have Aqueduct, prioritize building cities over settlements. Because if you build a settlement next to a tile with a number that you didn't have, it actually hurts your production. Rule number 3. Respect the first barbarian attack. To survive the first barbarian attack, you need to build a knight and activate it. So you will need an ore, a sheep, and a wheat. This may be obvious, but trust me, it's not as easy as it seems. How do you maximize your chance of saving your city? First, try to get 2 out of the 3 resources you need from your initial city placement. Then your job is to get the last missing resource. Second, focus all you have on the missing resource. One common mistake I see people make is to build a road before your knights. It may be tempting to do, especially when you have 6 or 7 cards, but a lot of times you have to 4-to-1 trade to get your last resource, which necessarily means that you have to hoard wood or brick and take the risk of losing half of your cards if 7 is rolled. Third, be proactive in trading. I usually will track the rolls and what resources other players have before the first Barbarian attack. For example, if I need a sheep, I will pay attention to players that have sheep production and initiate trade when they have extra. I will also keep track of what resources they are missing in order to find the best trade for both of us. There is no guarantee that trading will get you what you need, but having some extra wood and brick that you save from building that road will give you more leverage in a trade scenario. Lastly, don't be discouraged if you lose your city. I come back from losing my first city often. When there's little hope of saving your first city, try to get level 1 science or trade city improvement, which brings to my final golden rule. Rule number 4. Get level 1 city improvement as early as possible. This is probably the least understood or appreciated technique. Why is it so important? When you have level 1 improvement, for example, a level 1 science improvement, whenever the red dice is 1 or 2 and the event dice is green, you get a science progress card. What is the chance of this happening? It is 1 out of 3 times 1 out of 6, so 1 out of 18. That's the same probability as 3 or 11 is rolled. And considering 1 progress card is roughly equivalent to 2 resources, getting level 1's improvement is like gaining access to a tile with numbers 5 or 9. And the cost is just 1 commodity. I would prioritize getting science and trade improvement because green and yellow progress cards are more helpful in early games. There you have it. This is the first edited video of my life. It took so long that I began to appreciate the effort that YouTubers put in to produce videos. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and comment. And I hope to see you in my next video.